In today's video, we are once again going to be taking a look at the upcoming pattern where we do have a very warm look to the end of April into the beginning of May, which is exciting. We obviously had a little bit of cooler times there around the midpoint of the month here. But we have rebounded back into a warmer pattern, which I know most of you are cheering for once it's, April and May. I know you guys are crazy about the cold and snow, but once it's April, May, we're all kind of hoping for some nicer weather, and that is what is on the way. There is numerous threats of thunderstorms, obviously, as the humidity and temperatures go up, and there will be some fluctuations, some weaker cold fronts we're going to look at that won't be enough to bring us into a colder than normal pattern, but it'll be enough to create some instability and some storms and even severe weather. So we're going to be diving into all of this. So here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the National Weather Service issued yesterday on April 19th. This is for April 25th through 29th. As you can see, cooler than normal conditions persist here along the southwest. We see warmer than normal conditions overall for a lot of the Rockies, the Plains, the Midwest, even into the east here. We see just overall warmer conditions, and that almost always comes as a result of the cooler than normal conditions along that western seaboard. As we take a look at the precipitation, again, that humidity and temperatures being higher, we're going to just overall see more interesting weather, more fluctuations, overall more thunderstorm development throughout these areas, and it is going to become more and more active as the pattern persists, in my opinion. Also, the northwest doesn't do too shabby here, as you can see, a little bit above average there. The southwest is the only area, even including Hawaii and Alaska there, that has below average precipitation expected for this time frame, interestingly enough. Here is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, and it's a lot of the same, a little closer to normal for the west coast, but we do see the same warmer than normal conditions basically from the Rockies eastward here, persisting from April 27th through April or May 3rd as well. Looking at the precipitation, above average for a lot of the nation once more. Now, as we take a look at the past 20 days here, this is going to be your first 20 days of April. And as you can see, we have had cooler than normal conditions, especially for the northern Rockies, northern plains, upper Midwest, into the Great Lakes. And some of that is even extended into the northeast. And then we've had an overwhelmingly warm pattern underneath for the southwest, south central, and southeastern states. I talked about this yesterday, but obviously the north and the south, there is already a temperature difference. Warmer in the south, colder in the north on average, but we're seeing cooler than normal for these areas in the north and warmer than normal for the south. So this is leading to a higher contrast between these two air masses, which I think is a big part of why we saw so much terrible severe weather early on in the month. That contrast leads to instability, which leads to bad thunderstorms, and paired with the right dynamics can lead to terrible severe weather like we've seen throughout a lot of early April here so far. Let's take a look here first off at the European model, and we're going to look at the Storm Prediction Center at the end of the video as we always do. But looking at the afternoon here of Sunday, we do see a low develops here for Oklahoma and Kansas. We see a cold front underneath here. This could be an area to watch for severe weather, but even along this warm front, there seems to be some heavier precipitation. Don't be surprised if there's activity in there as well. This is a pretty big event here. We saw it start yesterday. We're seeing some more today. So this is going to be pretty active throughout the day today. And as you can see, by the time we reach tomorrow, that low skirts up into the Great Lakes here. We see this cold front is now extended out. We still have a little bit of a warm front, but not as intense of one. And what we see is some thunderstorms around for the south central states, some of the deep south, into the Appalachian mountain range kind of, and then into some of the Great Lakes there as well. Also some snowfall mixing in for the northern areas of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and also the upper peninsula of Michigan. Definitely worth noting. And we do see some wintry weather as well for the northwest happening, which can be expected to persist into May on average. Looking at Tuesday the 22nd, this is when things get a little bit messier. We just have kind of general thunderstorms popping up for many different areas here. And the jet stream is relatively flat, so there isn't much to discuss. We're not going to see a lot of fully from coast to coast dry days moving forward. It's mostly going to be enough humidity and high temperatures to spark up some thunderstorms for a lot of areas almost daily, probably through the summer and into early fall. As we take a look at Wednesday, same thing. There's no parent low really, but we see thunderstorms throughout the central states, the southeast as well. Thursday, a lot of the same. Friday still looking about the same, except it's moved up into the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and Mid-Atlantic now, but overall the same idea. No real parent low, like I said, but these spark up thunderstorms are occurring. Saturday on the 26th, we do see a low developed over eastern Canada, and this does bring a little bit of a weaker cold front here to these areas in the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast area. I could see this being a thunderstorm event, maybe even some severe weather for Saturday on the 26th. So we'll be watching that very closely. Still underneath of that dynamic, we have thunderstorms for the plains. So again, that's going to be almost a daily occurrence. Not a daily occurrence for a specific location, but when we're looking at the entire nation, they're going to be happening somewhere, I guess is the point. Sunday as well. I mean, it looks like it's happening daily in the plains during this pattern, but it's, again, not going to happen all the way through fall, obviously. We do get a little bit of a low developing there on Monday for northwestern Iowa, worth noting. That does develop into a bit of a frontal boundary. We see that move through the Midwest into the Ohio Valley, and then eventually also into the Mid-Atlantic Northeast corridor as well. Some potential thunderstorms, and then we get a low. This might be our strongest one, developing over South Dakota for May 1st. And it moves up into Minnesota, but look at what happens. This one moves into Michigan, or Wisconsin, better yet, and we see a weaker cold front again, warm front dynamic, and we're getting intense thunderstorms here. This is likely a severe weather event on this model. Keep in mind, it's beyond 10 days, so we want to take it with a grain of salt, but the trend here is these numerous weaker cold fronts that are actually a little bit more north-based here in the medium range. We see Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota all getting involved here. That could spell some bad weather for them. May 1st into May 2nd here, which is what we're seeing for the Midwest, Ohio Valley, deep south, and we see that move up into the east as well there for Sunday or Saturday on May 3rd. Eventually, that does bring a little bit of a backdoor cold front into the east, some cooler weather, but this is at hours 360, so you're going to want to take it with a grain of salt. Looking at the GFS model, we get the same thing, pretty substantial severe weather event here. Those daily thunderstorms occurring. Even some weaker cold fronts moving through the north. We do get a low there over Minnesota, Wisconsin area. It kind of separates and moves northward, and then we actually get a secondary low that takes over here around the late April timeframe, where we do get a dragging weak cold front, a warm front out to the east, and what we see is a severe weather threat a little more south-based than the European model showed. This one is Iowa and Illinois southward through Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas. So a little bit of a disagreement in location, but not a real premise disagreement at all. And we continue to see these systems moving from west to east. It does dry up a little bit there for early May, but we do see another system kind of building there for the plains by the time we're reaching the 5th time frame. But again, hours 384, really we're looking mostly, over the next 10 days or so at the late April time frame with some seriousness, and then the early May is what we're trying to figure out here. But it is fluctuating, obviously, as that is very far out, but we will figure out more about it over time. Total precipitation here, I mean, really, the west is drier unless you're in the northwest here, where it is pretty decent for the Northern Rockies and up there in Oregon and Washington State. We do see from the plains, maybe even from the Rockies eastward, the precipitation is quite high. This is looking really decent, especially for these plains area that's going to be very far above average, but it is really decent all the way to the east coast. Looking at the anomalies, again, highly above average here for the plains and Midwest as well. But also when we move towards the east, it is closer to normal. We see some slightly above average, some slightly below average. So that's what the next 2 weeks looks like overall, with the west mostly being drier unless you're up there in Washington. Storm Prediction Center outlooks, day one, again, we do have an enhanced risk, but I'll take us category by category. The lighter greens is going to be your general thunderstorm risk, where we do expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible. So be sure to heed every watch, warning, and advisory. The darker green there is going to be your level 1 marginal risk, where we do expect isolated severe weather to occur. The yellow area is your level 2 slight risk, where we expect scattered about severe weather. And then that orange area for Arkansas and Missouri is your level 3 enhanced risk, where we do expect a little bit more widespread severe weather activity to occur today on Sunday, April 20th. Looking towards tomorrow, we have 2 general thunderstorm risk areas, but we do slow down big time for Monday on the 21st here. And then day 3, same thing, we have a general thunderstorm risk, a pretty large one at that, but we do have a level 1 marginal risk there for Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, which is worth noting. Again, isolated severe weather within that area. As of now, we have no extended day outlooks. Probably going to be seeing some of those within the next week or two. So we will have more on that, but be sure to tune in with us because we do upload every single day. So be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.